here are some of the questions. This is from David Furones in the Sun Sentinel. Here are some of the questions. He does a Dolphins Q&A. And one of the questions he gets, the first one, should the Dolphins fire McDaniel and Greer after the Buffalo loss in 10 days? Greer needs to be gone just as much as Mike. There's a emailer assuming they're going to lose against Buffalo. Furones responds, the hot seat both McDaniel and Greer are on was, without question, the story of the season going in. I did not imagine the conversation could be ratcheted up to this level this early, but after the unmitigated disaster that was the Dolphins' season-opening loss to the Indianapolis Colts, that's where we're at. I'd honestly say, and this is David Furones speaking, I'd honestly say we've entered a stage where it is within the realm of possibility. I wouldn't say it's nearly likely that this is how the next 10 days go, but it's not entirely out of the question. Week 1 against a mediocre Colts team was never competitive. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa turned the ball over 3 times. That and the accompanying deficit in turn never let the run game get going. Defensively, the secondary couldn't cover, and without much of a pass rush either, quarterback Daniel Jones looked like Peyton Manning at Lucas Oil Stadium. And, oh yeah, there was a critical special teams penalty. Nothing went right. The Dolphins were uninspired, unprepared, and did not execute. These are all indictments on Mike McDaniel. The key is how it goes in Sunday's home opener against the Patriots. If the Dolphins drop that one, even looking half as awful as week 1 in Indianapolis against a Patriots team that lost to the lowly Raiders in its opener and has come into the September 1 p.m. heat and humidity of South Florida, all bets would be off, because these Dolphins are not going into Orchard Park on a short week and beating the Buffalo Bills. If you're owner Steve Ross, you can't make any move merely off a loss to New England. But if the ensuing Thursday night at Buffalo, the Dolphins are blown out again or get to 0-3, Ross would be within reason going into a long weekend to blow the whole thing up with Greer and McDaniel. What else are you waiting for at that point? It would signify another season going down the drain during the first half, where the Dolphins should be stacking wins against a tough second half of schedule. In the scenario where something happens this year, some would say Greer might stay while McDaniel goes. I think, David Furones says, they go down together. If we find McDaniel's tenure failed, that's in large part on Greer, who owns the longest active tenure as GM in the NFL without a playoff win. The franchise would have to start fresh with new direction from the GM on down and a new coach. All this said, I have the Dolphins winning Sunday's home opener against the Patriots, so you can put all that talk on hold.
It would be weird. I do not think you keep one and get rid of the other. But it would be weird to fire McDaniel week 3 and let Chris Greer stay on till the offseason. Like Stephen Ross, we've talked about it, like people criticizing his decision-making. I think you either have to let him stay around and just fight through the pain and fire them both in the offseason, or clean house early. I don't think you can fire one without firing the other and giving another guy. And Chris Greer would know, I got 3 months left of this job. Like, you're just sitting there as a lame duck. I don't think one leaves and the other stays for a window of time. And there's a lot of decisions to be made, like the Tyreek Hill trade. So you get rid of McDaniel, you leave Greer around to make the Tyreek trade just to fire him in the offseason. It just that concept doesn't make sense to me.
Beyond that, though, I mean, no joke. I understand, it's very difficult to make a decision, and it's probably never the right time to make a decision like that. But imagine how it would look if Stephen Ross fired the general manager after letting him make signings, draft your future assets, make trades throughout the entire offseason, and then 3 weeks into the season, after you let him do all that and impact your franchise for years, that's when you decide to let him go. Again, I realize there's never going to be the right time to do it, but that also is as silly as it gets.
It's not, though, if you find out a lot quicker than you thought you'd find out that none of it worked. Because the thought was, because I even said before the season started, hey, this is going to be a season to make or break Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer. But I always figured the season, there wasn't a scenario where I thought 3 weeks in you'd be talking about making a change. Didn't think there was a scenario. That's how bad they looked opening week. Like that, like it was unfathomably bad. So I would say if they do come out looking lethargic and get wiped off the field on Sunday, and then you go into a short week against Buffalo, I think if they get wiped off the field Sunday by New England, the process will be in motion and it'll happen after Thursday. I don't think there's a chance that they would upset Buffalo. So I do think that, while it's an admission that everything you said was okay and we're riding with wasn't, it's better than trying to pretend like, hey, it might get better. Like you just find out sooner rather than later. Wow. I had faith. None of it was right.
And with Greer, is Savignaia, did he make a difference? Aaron Brewer, James Daniels out now. He tore his pec. Like the additions you added to this team, I didn't see any difference. Even that front seven, the linebackers he brought in, there was no difference in the front seven. We're good with Storm Duck and Jack Jones. Storm Duck's hurt. We're not good with Storm Duck and Jack Jones. And now we're really not good with Jack Jones and whoever else is playing. Marshall, the 5th round pick. To your point, Solana, a draft pick. It's Kenneth Grant. Did he make a play? Like, it starts – a 25-point loss makes you look at everything in a microscope. You get beat by the Patriots and you're going to play primetime Thursday night in Buffalo, which that's not going to go well. You have to look at it and say, hey, I might have almost – I don't know if this is what you're saying, Solana, almost to the point that I didn't do it early enough. How long can I wait to really make the change to get us back on top?
Yeah, and it's a counter to what I was saying earlier. But if I am Stephen Ross and things do get out of hand again, and it becomes clear I was wrong in allowing this person to run the franchise for another season, don't you almost have to say, okay, I was wrong, but how can I let him continue after the mistakes he made over the offseason? You know what I mean? Like if he's just not the guy, he's not the guy. Why let him continue making decisions? Crowder, the reality is, you look at an NBA team, and when the Heat had the big three, if LeBron, Bosh, and Wade all had bad days, they weren't going to win a game. It just wasn't going to happen. James Jones and Eddie House weren't winning you basketball games. The Miami Dolphins are similar to that. They don't have the big three, but they're top heavy. And if Tyreek Hill can't get the football because Tua Tagovailoa is having an off day and can't get it to him, the reality is they're not going to win football games. It just is what it is. So no matter what other moves Chris Greer made, that's what happens when you have a top-heavy football team. He could have drafted the best player in the draft, the biggest diamond in the rough. Kenneth Grant's not winning you a football game. Like Tua to Tyreek, Tua to Waddle, Devon Achane, the offensive line, that's winning you football games. That's what they committed themselves to.
If you get rid of McDaniel, Anthony Weaver takes over, correct? Like, is it Frank Smith, Anthony Weaver?
Not that
Anthony
the defense
Weaver
looked great on Sunday, but yes.
He's going to be Anthony Weaver, the young guy. It's almost like what was it? Antonio Pierce in Las Vegas. Like, you're going to get the young player coach to get, the guy that everybody likes. If you get rid of Chris Greer week 3, you have to have a GM in place to make a lot of decisions. Free agent signings, trades with Tyreek, which I think if we go 0-3, Tyreek's not going to be here through the year. They already have odds on him not to be with the Dolphins. Who is that guy? You always say, just fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him. So who's going to take his place to make a lot of crucial decisions for the rest 3 months of this Dolphin season? And then does he keep the job in this whole offseason? Does whoever takes over Chris Greer, is he now the GM through the draft next year? Is he an interim GM? Right. It's a lot more than just we look bad, fire people. You have to have a replacement.
It's an untenable situation because because the truth is, so if you bring in someone new to make all these decisions in the interim and you make decisions that affect the franchise moving forward, but then you go out and you want to get a certain coach and that coach might say, yeah, but I need all the control. And so the person you hired to make all these decisions now is kind of on the outs. Like it's just not this is why no team wants to be in this situation, because there's so many moving parts to it. And every decision you make is going to affect the next decision that gets made. All that being said, David Furonis gets another question in the Sun Sentinel. How much will it cost to move on from Tua after this season? I've heard conflicting info. Furonis says a Yahoo story Tuesday detailed a path similar to how the Denver Broncos got out from the Russell Wilson contract. It revealed that it would cost the Dolphins $79.2 million over the next 2 seasons. The team could allot $62.4 million on the 2026 cap and the remaining $16.8 to 2027. The Dolphins already have $33.6 million in dead cap space for 2026, with Ramsey and retired left tackle Ron Armstead together combining for more than $31 million of it. To move from Tua would require a cheap starting quarterback next season, possibly an avenue to find one as a top draft choice if the team is picking high in the draft and rebuilds this year.
And is that a tank? Is that what is that the question? Are we tanking for now to go get a young guy or to sign a vet?
Because well, no, if you get rid of Tua after this season, you'd be drafting a quarterback. So then you'd have a quarterback for cheap. Like you'd have to draft a quarterback high, so you'd get a quarterback cheap. The reason you'd get rid of Tua after the season is because they have an awful season. So you'd imagine they'd have a high draft pick, and then you would get rid of him, eat the dead cap space, but you'd have a very cheap quarterback because of drafting one.
Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, and Lenore Sellers are the 3 top quarterbacks. Does that move any?
Well, don't forget about Carson Beck.
Carson Beck. I'm just looking at. I looked at the top 10 mock draft. It's so funny. The website's called Tankathon, but it's yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thought of New Orleans, right? That they're tanking for Arch Manning,
and that's who's number one is the New Orleans Saints are drafting Arch Manning number 1 overall, quarterback out of Texas.
Our old friend Adam Beasley, to that point, and by the way, like I know we're a long way from this becoming true, so who knows?
Yep.
And I don't think the Dolphins are moving on from Tua this offseason anyways. I genuinely don't. I don't think there's an out for them the following season, so I just don't think so. But our old friend Adam Beasley, who I know no longer is full-time on the beat, but he has been here for a very long time. He said, if the last 25 years have taught the Dolphins and their fans nothing else, it should be this. Unless you have a generational quarterback, you must try to improve at that position every single offseason. He writes, college football gets it. The NFL should too. And I know it's very easy to say that, like go find Patrick Mahomes, go find Joe Burrow, and it almost never happens. But I think, he's right. Like you shouldn't just settle when you find a good quarterback. You should consistently be trying to find a great quarterback. The Commanders are proof positive there. They hit on that, and look at where they are. Literally a season and 1 game in, they feel like they're Super Bowl contenders now every year for the next decade.
But Trevor Lawrence was a generational quarterback. Jags ain't doing a damn thing. Dak Prescott, Hawk loves him. The Dallas Cowboys, they do the same thing we do. Get to the playoffs, get their ass whooped. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, like we can go through those top 5. They're not making. Nussmeier is not Josh Allen. Arch Manning is not Josh Allen.
I'm with you, but Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen until he turned into Josh Allen. No joke. I remember Josh Allen's first playoff game against Houston. He was a disaster. He was throwing the ball over the place. It was a nightmare. I thought this guy sucked.
Yeah, until he won a Super Bowl. I mean, so you got to give guys chances. I get it. I mean, I think there's a real conversation to be had if Tua continues to, and the question is Tua going to continue to look like he looked on Sunday, or was that the 1 game aberration? I asked that of someone yesterday. Like that's the real question.
It's so funny that they're both itsy bitsy spiders. Drew Brees got ran out of San Diego, went to New Orleans and won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's a little bitty dude. Tua's a little bitty dude. He was injury prone with the Chargers. He tore his hip up or something, just like Tua's been getting concussions. But he was talented, and we look at Drew Brees as a very good quarterback. We look at Tua as a very good quarterback. Tua goes to, I don't know, the Browns. Will he be better? Can he go get over that hump? Because why don't you just bring a better regime in to coach him? Like if they stuck
I mean, that's the Tannehill example. It's like, hey, did you have to get rid of Tannehill? Maybe you could have brought in Derrick Henry.
And they would,
you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you can do the yin and yang of that all the time.
AFC Championship game?
Yeah.
So was Tannehill terrible, or was our coaching staff terrible? That's what we're going to have.
Or did you just miss Derrick Henry?
With Tua.
Or did you miss Derrick Henry? Like, there's so many moving parts. There's no answer. It's like, no, Tua's not going to be a good NFL quarterback. No, Ryan Tannehill's never going to be a great NFL quarterback. All of a sudden, he's in the AFC Championship game, but he happens to have Derrick Henry in the backfield. So it's hard to play that game.
I get what you're doing, Crowder, but I do, man, comparing Tua to Drew Brees, I see the parallels. But, bro, Drew Brees ended up being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I know he was injury prone, but the longevity of his career is a testament to what he was able to accomplish. I mean, the guy I saw Sunday, and I'm saying this carefully, doesn't look like somebody who's going to be playing football in 5 years.
Again, that's the question, though. Is the guy you saw Sunday really representative of what you're going to see moving forward?
Yeah.
That we're going to start to find out on Sunday. We got to take a break because the 4 o'clock hour is coming up.
5 years with San Diego Chargers, no one thought Drew Brees was good. Goes to New Orleans, and we love Drew Brees.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes a change of scenery helps, but also a change of teammates, depending on who you get surrounded with,
has a roster construction.
Yeah, it has a huge difference in what goes on there.